resolves with confession. Solution arrives as a lesson. So this is Lester Young, 30s, 40s, Ellington Basie, the president of the tenor saxophone. And this was written by Amiri Baraka, Leroy Jones. I think Amiri Baraka would loosely translate as friendly blessing, but anyhow.
Yeah.
Prez spoke in a language. Prez spoke in a language of his own. What did he say between the horn lines, pork pie hat, tenor tilted? Prez once was a drummer but gave it up because other dudes was getting the foxes. While he packed his tom-toms, ding-dong, Prez said, meaning like a typewriter, it's the end of this line. No eyes, Prez would say, meaning I couldn't dig it, and what it was lame. Prez had a language and a life like all his own, but in the teeming whole of us he lived, tooting on his sideways horn, translating Frankie Trumbauer into birds' feathers, trained sinewy tracks, the slickster walking through the crowd, surviving on a terrifying wit. It's the jungle we living in. Cats like Prez could make it because they were clear they at least had to do anything else. Save all that, comrades, we need it.
And this is the attribution. That was the attribution. That was this. You just did your attribution.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes. Patty girl. Cloudy day, patch of rain, moisture spreads across the plain, tornadoes, floods strike from above, climactic change, recipients of recalibrate, please reconcile, pressing needs of the rank and file, war machine grinds self to dust, narcissism, false god we trust, PG&E, that's premeditated greed, and forget the line.
Egregious.
And egregious. Can't clear the lines. Say, bud, not a flood, but a fire this time. Like the tree that's broken, yet remains a stump, we can't survive 4 more years of Trump. I'm gonna move, baby, way out to the outskirts of sound. As an outside force, of course, your choice of voice roils the coils, dreading neither locks nor key, snake, staff, and twines eternally, like sausage, necklace, pearl, or lay, where pine cones fire, palm fronds sway, farallons far to the west, outliers of our westerness, whale slaps its tail repeatedly, I sit upon the redwood's knee, California is my tone, adopted it, it is my home. Mouthwash, hogwash, your voice permeates my cell wall, chants before my proscenium, fills the space between my teeth as I stand here cleaning them. Soft palate feels invisible egg, which opens space for singing, project and focus back of the hall. Vocal power bringing clarity, alacrity, inform the depth of breath. Osmosis halts my halitosis just this side of death.
There we go, Mr. David.
All right, 5 or 6 baritone solos in the cafe. This is one of my favorites. Inside man is made. No. All right, I'm going to be introducing the feature at this point because it is the feature's turn to speak. Jacob Sandiego has been here many times in the past, and he has been stellar in his presentation. He has a good, clear voice. One understands every word. Sometimes, perhaps, one wishes they did not understand every word. But he comes through, and that's what we do here. Speak from the heart. Let your soul have flight. Don't hold back. What's the point of holding back? You're here. There's poets. You're a poet. If you can't speak here, where can you speak? Just saying. And this man, new to me, I met him here, and I was going, wow, what a great poet, what a good voice. And it was a while before I said, hey, why don't you feature? And he said, yeah. And that was a while back, but he's here now. And rather than have me go on exemplifying and pontificating, I like that word, pontificating. But he is a good, soulful writing expresser. And he's going to come up here now and express. Give this man a really nice round of applause, because you only wanted to do this when he's going to get it. I'm ready to applause for him before.
Get this. Okay, you're going to do that, and I'll get this. Jacob Zendigo! We call him Jacob because that's his name.
True. Oh, can you give me a 2-minute warning?
I'll get your attention and get something. Let me just get this going here. Hold on a second. All right, there we are. You're on to, and you're framed perfectly, I might say.
Thank you. Well, I wanted to read the poems at first, like some of the poems I started when I first started reading here publicly, and then also to like the present now. So.
Can you turn it down a bit? Oh yeah, just get a little closer.
Oh yeah. So this is like from last year. For the lives lost in Nicaragua, Libre. From Ernesto Cardenal. Dreams kept us separate, but awakening reunites us. The cemeteries of old souls are painted with shades of azul, rosado, purpura, and amarillo. A celebration of life. Once the sun has said goodbye, moths come to kiss the names etched in stone. Crosses, saconoche, and candles rest against the tombs. Offerings to the lost ones. I pray that they have found their eternal resting place, far from the soil of bones. This is a North Beach poem for Jean Louise. My friend Ryan came to visit from Italy. He demands I take him to a bar. Let's drink like they do on that novel you love. On the road, right? He insists on getting 3 Jack Kerouacs once we get to Vesuvio's. 1 will do, 3 will kill you. We have 4. What sane person mixes rum and tequila? I spot a rainbow in Jean Louise's alleyway. The street musicians play jazz. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I bum one off a young Thelonious Monk. The night's just begun, and we're paralytic drunk. City lights resembles a monastery. Literature is meditation. Bring a pocket poem back to Rome, I tell Ryan. We find our sea legs and maneuver the paved waves. Ryan buys some tea in our Washington Square. The smoke fumigates our temple. I try to move the moon, but she won't budge. We head back towards Pine, sober as a judge. This is a poem for Skip. Man and Dharma pup walk to the creek. Pup lies down in the water and allows it to engulf him. Man sits lotus and closes his eyes. They both hum, mimicking the cadence of the water. Together they sit in harmony. The dog has tasted nirvana and urges the man to try. Here, have a nibble. The man smiles, but shakes his head no. It's not my time yet. The Dharma pup barks a few haikus. He knows the man loves words, syllables, earth songs. Until the rainbow bridge, I say. The man opens his eyes, only water remains. And this one is... Thank you. This next one is called Church. The church pews say I should stay a while. You have much to confess, my son. I get halfway through the Our Father before giving up. My face burns. I dab holy water on like cologne. Jesus cocks his head to the side. I should have changed wine into water. Man might have got drunk on life. The collection plate gets passed my way, but all my money has been deposited into the city's tech utopia. I rip off each eyelid and place them in along with hands and feet. The priest pats my pockets and sprinkles in the angel dust. Thank you, my son. These donations really do keep us going. The priest winks at the crucified Jesus before closing the cathedral. Post office. USPS has evicted its tenants. Mailboxes no longer have doors. How am I expected to read my suicide note now? How am I to read the fine print as far as expression goes? Puddles of old English are actually portals to childhood, back when we were intoxicated 24/7 off fumes and fragrance of this existence. Waking up with the sun, energized, full of breath, for our lungs have been allowed to rest. Now we eat cigarettes and roaches, smiling with yellow teeth. Cartoons replaced by mass shootings, water guns now spit untamed flames. My peers walk into oncoming traffic without question. Intuition reprogrammed. Consensus of thought castrated. Brain matches the chewed up apple they carry around in their pocket. Current curriculum have taught us to second guess every sign and worship each fallacy. What happens when the signal drops and we adjust our skeletons? Lighter fluid reminds me of her. Cigarettes were her children. She nurtured them until the final drag. She doesn't believe in doctors, said they are nothing but con men, and nurses nothing but eye candy. She told inside jokes to herself and self-prescribed solutions. Adderall, weed, codeine, Xanax, Coke, and plenty of Percocet to take the edge off. Medication for her mind that housed 3 demons and a dead grandmother. I held her until the rain dissolved and the sun returned from hiatus. We don't need the sun, it's already light outside. We need the moon for this empty shoebox we call Earth. We waited for night, she called us lunatics. Our eyes forgot to blink. We went blind staring at the almighty rock in the sky. Crystals were supposed to subdue her, but none were able to cure her mental relapse. She asked me to take her to the library so we could burn it down. This is a house built on lies. The romanticists glorified love, the countercultural drugs. None of it has substance, none of it is real. We held hands until she became a postmortem postcard. Address obsolete. Please return to sender. Hands etched in hatred wrap around my neck and demand I recite the name that I was given. God. My conscience laughs and says, don't you know? Atheism is the new fad. Somebody's dead already, and no soul has lent a prayer. Death is an El Camino left in neutral on the Sunset Strip. Death is an unfinished canvas. Death is an overdue library book. And death we are. My apartment became a self-induced insane asylum. 4 white walls, all art exiled. The plaster spoke in tongues, encouraging further fumigation. All door hinges dismembered. Mirrors only revealed a noose. I remain but a speck, suspended in an infinity loop. Round and round this carousel of corpses, until one day, sun pierced through the darkness. God hit me in the face with a parable. 2 pigeons, French kissing on the window ledge. You'll never outrun yourself. Loneliness is a parasite you invited in the night you left your heart along the highway as a roadside attraction. Poetry as pollination. The purple flowers of the community garden never seem to die. Miracle on Pine Street. For the gardener robs the plants, siphoning all liquids from the hose, selling bottles on the block as organic hydro. Junkies smuggle out tomatoes for sandwiches, imagination filling the vacancy of bread, bacon, and lettuce. Read the paper this morning? Nirvana is now a neurological transplant, says my neighbor to a bar window. The gardener mislabeled the mescaline as mint. My mojito makes my eyes, tongue, and ears multiply by 7. Ask me about divine intervention, Kama Sutra, or downward dog if you were to see me combust like the melancholic magnolia. Nicaraguan pat down.
Oh yeah.
5 bullets take a drive through my skull with no notion of stopping. The peacekeepers surround me and ask me if I'm the assailant or the victim. Their guns cocked at attention eluded their verdict. As my blood seeps down the pavement, the cracks along the cobblestone compose my eulogy. The head officer kicks my ribs and tells me to roll over. As I'm patted for weapons, bullet shells rain from my temple. Don't call the medic. He'll be dead on arrival.
Pat down.
first one, I think. This one's like a newer one. Called it Dinner with Tongo. Dinners with poets is often strange but rewarding. Odd seeing the poet sit still, committing human acts like folding the napkin on their lap or chewing with an open mouth. Strange hearing them speak at normal cadence of tone, not shouting or performing memorized dialogue. Even if the topic isn't poetry, you end up talking poetry. Literal are in the methods of delivery, straight from the heart. Once you commit to words, they tend to haunt you and remind you there are things to be written, stories to be made, and people to amuse. Food bites are cues to think, collect words, collect data. Then the poetry continues. Free flow thought. One topic leads to another, two minds mingle. Regardless of the style, they share the same page. Talkerias lead to the best conversations, it seems. Once you discover poetry and write poetry, you're in it. You become it, you read it, you share it, you experience it, you breathe it. Breathe more poetry.
Yeah.
Another one.
But beware, you'll enjoy it.
That's true. It's a good medication. Yeah. Photo. Preservation stills a memory, a glimpse of time as it was on that day, that year. Poems. A preservation of feelings meshed with memory. The heart is unpredictable. Its beat sparks flashbacks, deja vu, and relapse. Relapse of loves I taught myself to forget, be that people, destinations, interest. The heart composes the poem, the eyes attract stimuli, and that also goes in the poem. A poem is motion, past and present momentum. Marvel at the stars as they explode and turn to ether. Ingest the lives of lawmakers, only to spit out bloody bullets and Uncle Sam's bone marrow. Paper bags might as well be prostitution. Trees were never meant to be sold, or written on for that matter. The tales of time lie within the earth's diminishing resources. I live in a condensed fable, roof, walls, and floorboard. My living room serves as a comedy open mic. Each piece of furniture takes turns laughing at me. The walls have become a mass of flies, front row showing of my insanity. If only I could survive the apartheid of my mind. This is a fun one, I think. A San Francisco poem. The poet is nothing without stimuli. No neighborhood, no metaphors, no people, no character. My walk to the bus stop is a poem. The junkie strung out in Whole Foods bathroom is a poem. The pigeons that congregate in the park for Comes of Christ, a poem. The cashier at my corner store who says $100 instead of $1 when ringing up Dutch Masters, a poem. The way she used to cook breakfast, naked in her silhouette, a poem. The night I drank all the sense out of me, walk with my best friend down Broadway, laughing at existence, finding joy in all things commonplace, all things bizarre, a poem. The old man seated on the ledge, smoking in the alleyway, awaiting for his dead lover to reappear. The librarian's striped socks, the needles on the church steps, the decayed Christmas tree left out for garbage collection at the end of January. The city skyscrapers, enveloping desk jockeys hunched over paperwork, hitting keys embedded within them, all poetry. Expired American spirits, hits of Jameson and Hennessy, discarded couches with stains of memory, used books utilized as rolling paper, jukebox, a single billiards table, old English rappers stuck to bathroom mirrors and dive bars no one will ever write home about, all poetry. The snoozing mariachi men of the mission, construction workers passing black miles between coffee sips, cafes filled with poets sipping poetry, sacred grounds. Coffee is just an excuse to be poetic after all. Power outages, candles Power outages, candlelit reflections, dead flowers threatening to bloom, dazed dance clubs, dogs with no leash, newly formed unions walking hand in hand down Market, flower shops manned by a single woman, 3 a.m. diner dialect, all poetry. The sun sees our potential, the moon all our flaws, both love us just the same. Chinatown oranges, Chinatown chess, Japantown blues, North Beach neon lights, advertising flesh, pasta, junk, and pocketbooks. Hate Street kids handing out psilocybin in exchange for coconut water. Turned on chakras at the Visadero Cava bars, Pier 27, Ocean Melodies, zonked out seagulls, tourists snapping photos of every inch of this city. Artists painting murals on Valencia, smoking circles lead to taqueria raids, drag and 35mm at the Castro Theater. Queer quartet buys me hash at Orphan Annie's. Band of Tenderloin Temptation sings blues like B.B. King, asking for donation between sets. Tenderloin, nothing tender about it, brother. The Civic Center Plaza has a cathedral, most call it a library, where all the walking dead go and attempt to find their head. Crack rocks in a Nike sock, Henry Matisse outside of coffee shops, Cesar Chavez and MLK street signs are always masked and caution tape, 11-year-old kids vaping on their way to school, police shooting the breeze, God willing we dodge their stray bullets, tents outside condo fronts, all poetry. Poetry is in our DNA, is what we breathe, is what we say, night and day. Poetry in our eyes, poetry in our hearts, at the tip of our lips, within our soul. A bouncer asked me, how do you write a poem? I said, look within, or simply look out your window, wherever that may be. The poet is just the messenger. The words speak for themselves.
Five minutes, just so you know. Figure out, let you know.
I'm gonna actually
Okay, all right.
an older one.
All right.
This was like for Jack Hirschman.
Yeah.
If I could find it.
Salty old dog.
Reporting from an August poetry reading in North Beach. Let's see. Beat artifacts marinate in the background as prepare this meeting of words. Poets fill the seats, waiting for Jack Hirschman to begin the reading. Aggie ushers me towards Jack. Show him the book. I produce a copy of The Bottom Line, found in my local bookstore in Placerville, California. He signs with a smile. His mustache curls as he speaks. I want to ask him a million questions, but I'm in awe of the man. I settle with, thank you for all the poems you have given us. He shakes my hand, and I find my seat amongst the scribes. The first poet is overwhelmed with emotion. He struggles to complete his first poem. Unfortunately, the poem resonates with me, is an all too familiar occurrence. He calls it a work in progress, for more names will inevitably be added to the list of African American people executed by police. Poem after poem, we experience the power of the word. Foreign poems read in Italian, Spanish, and Chinese still pierce the consciousness of all who listen. Words are music. Everything sounds better in a foreign language, more romantic and true, at least. After the readings, I look at the various books and photographs that fill the Beat Museum. I see Guinea, smiling wide, wearing a sweater and collared shirt, the youthful years, long before he learned to howl or grow a beard and let his hair hang down. He's photographed in a city street with fellow page addicts screaming poems, laughing and rejoicing at the simplicity of existence. Then there's old Jack Kerouac with a smoke in his mouth, boyish grin, and that gaze which will withstand the test of time. The Dharma, the holy goof, the man who never missed a beat. And how could I forget Burroughs with his stoic stare that penetrates and reads you like a book? The street prophet, a life filled with yaga and young flesh. I see Duke, the great Gonzo, with his filtered tip and tinted vision, a counterculture icon, not giving a single fuck, telling it like it is. Next to him is Charles. The shopkeeper declares him a rare breed. He was good at prose, poems, and the short. Not only was he good, he was prolific at each. There's that word again. I wrote at the top of the page the day I decided to pursue writing. I have it written on the wrist of my right hand as a reminder to never abandon the page. Write always and listen. Tell the stories of the people. That's the message I received after getting drunk off poetry in North Beach.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mindful politics. The riot keeps walking, even after the streets have turned to iodine. My soul is stuck in a postmortem elevator, nowhere to go but down. I pantomime clouds and landscapes. The earth shows me no pity. Return for what you came from, son. All my ancestors have been sold on clearance. All that remains is this cross my grandfather used to hide behind as he lapped up liquor or watched novellas with the sound off. God exiled us at birth. We remain in the loop, constantly crossing the street in crosshairs, praying the assailant has slipped into sleep instead of that finger resting on the trigger. The eyes in the back of my head have been sealed with plaster, and my penile gland is in need of maintenance. 4 horsemen take bets on who can get to me quicker. You are judge, jury, and defendant. I petition to reinstate the electric chair. Rather than enjoy my last supper, I soak in the tub and await the fireworks. Thank you for your contribution, says the executioner. We were 3 bottles short of our quota this month. I smile and nod. I will not die, but be reborn a seed that will only get stronger as these seasons progress.
All right.
I'll say dreams or delirium. Pillows hold my dreams. Their ransom, an upside-down moon, and 3 Cerebrus claws. I shrug and exhale my night terrors, which paint the verses of Acts 2:17 along the wall. The earth has become a sphere of cigarettes. To light them would mean apocalypse. All my friends carry lighters. I take the stairway to heaven, but the steps have become serpents. I shrug as I am confined in my room, a library of unread books and spiritual aspirations. A little one.
Yeah, a little, just to kick us out here, because you got a tiny bit of time here.
I'll just do a little happy one, because those are some dark ones.
Happy.
Purple orbs in the orchard, inspired by my favorite painter, Vincent van Gogh. Live like the flower, true to its roots. It grows without restraint. Secure with self, the flower unveils its beauty. It beckons the birds and bees, shielded yet unguarded. A natural give and take with the coming of seasons, the flower blossoms. Its nutrients, the dharma for all. Pollination for the minds.
Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Get him out of it. Get it up with this guy. Oh, a very important announcement.
I was say, yeah, I actually just did this mini chapbook with Treehouse Potion. And so if anyone would like to get a copy, you can come see me after.
Yeah, we're gonna have like a 5 or 7 minute break, so see him about that. Schmooze as you need to. And I have to ask you a quick question. There should be 3 clips on here.
This would be the 3rd.
Yeah, I just want to see if that's true. Then I can.
Just keep pausing it.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. For sure.
Yeah, so that was the first one. Me including your this is the second one.
No, Dave, we're even worse.
Okay, so I can just.